My name is Garrett Dodd, and this is the Blackest Tide. To whoever has the great misfortune of discovering this letter, located beyond the shadow of my mind, far from the boundaries of conscious thought, lies in wait a terrible secret. It has begun to manifest itself in peculiar ways through vivid hallucinations and terrifying dreams I dare not try to remember. I refuse to find myself in a state of sleep and have now been awake for a period of about 6 days. It is difficult to say for certain, however, as my thoughts flee as fast as they come, and it is strenuous at best to attempt to grasp them. Oh, how I wish that I could spare you and the rest of the world from this terrible fate that I have come to know. It is with great regret and sadness that I admit the Reaper shall find me no later than the next sunrise. I am eager to embrace him, if only to finally find some rest. My end is not an end, though, but the beginning of what is yet to come. I am merely a vessel containing a bizarre chaos. I am changing within, and not only within my mind, but in my physical being as well. I know my bones are now hollow, my marrow replaced by something else. My heart no longer beats, and I cannot feel myself breathe, despite my chest still making movements, albeit in distressed, irregular patterns far from typical of a healthy human being. This, however, is not what frightens me and keeps me from my bed at night. The unexplainable routinely makes itself known to me, as if I am some great cosmic target. I am by no means mad, and physicians are in agreement upon that point. I see people, no, I see things of ancient and decrepit times, wandering the streets between us in our daily hustle and bustle unnoticed by the common man. Forms of an indescribably distinct shape, ever changing and ever consistent, haunt my peripheral vision. Smoke and shadow is all around. These are the vivid hallucinations I had spoken of earlier. I dare not attempt to focus, for then it all becomes very real, and I cannot begin to bear it, even for a moment. This morning, as I was making myself ready for the day in the bathroom mirror, I began to choke and gag. Something had somehow become lodged in my throat, and a thick black ooze replaced my saliva. As I struggled for upwards of 15 minutes, being totally unable to breathe, I had not yet passed out nor asphyxiated. Instead, I massaged my neck gently and worked the object up and out until finally I vomited a large, oval-shaped gold coin covered in the same sludge that is replacing my blood. When I reached for it, I was overcome with a sense of dread and began to second-guess myself, but my curiosity got the better of me. Upon touching the coin, it was cool to the touch and very nearly frosted over, a sensation I hadn't noticed while it was still choking me. It was crudely stamped and felt ancient, the markings of an age so perverse I dare not speak of it in great detail. Seals and emblems I do not recognize adorned the medallion, and a grotesque scene of execution could be found on the reverse side. I quickly put it away in the drawer of my nightstand and left for my office. While I sat in my office by the shipping port later that morning, I had begun to notice that people were eyeing me strangely, as if something was off, but as far as I could tell, I seemed as outwardly normal as ever, despite my inner changes and lack of sleep. It was then the office secretary, Susie, had approached me and asked me timidly what the tune was I had been humming all morning. With the utterance of those words, I was suddenly made aware of the loud, humming, chattering, and guttural tones I had been making as I went about my responsibilities of tracking and organizing shipping manifests and inspecting incoming archaeological finds. I had been inspecting a shipment of artifacts reportedly from the ancient Sumerian people coming in from the Middle East. In my duties of checking the cargo for items of malicious intent, I came across a small, intact vase indistinguishable from the rest. For a reason unknown to me, I felt compelled to open it, and upon doing so, I tilted the vase over while holding out my index finger. A single black drop appeared and landed, centered in my finger, and quickly disappeared into my skin. The flashback I had just witnessed was surreal, as if not my own memory, but whatever it was that now inhabited my body. It was not my perspective, but something else. As I came to from what I can only describe as a seizure and stood up, the strange sludge seemingly moved with me, re-entering my body and leaving no trace behind, aside the crack in the tile wall from where my head had struck it. I made my way back to the office and was approached by my supervisor, who relieved me for the day, saying that I made some of the other people in the office uncomfortable with my strange inward chanting from before the incident in the bathroom. Over the course of what I can now only describe as an affliction, I have come to understand the purpose for what has happened to me. Piece by piece this inhabitant has revealed its truth. Willingly or not, I do not know, and nor do I care. As I am infected by this darkness, I have begun to see now what lies ahead. My name is James Collings, and the date is November 2nd, 1988. By tomorrow morning sunrise I will no longer be, seemingly vanished, and begun the end. You will find no trace of me aside from this letter, and of that I cannot be so sure. I know now what is covered by the sands of time is meant to remain a mystery forever, that there are things in this plane of existence we are not and cannot ever be ready for, inescapably evil things, far beyond the conventional fears of death and even exceeding the expectations associated with it. Do not cry for my impending disappearance, for I embrace it. Yours truly, James B. Collings, bringer of the Black Tide. The bottom of the letter is dry with what appears to be a dark black ink, as if the reservoir for the fountain pen had been spilled.